The world looked on in disbelief as King Charles's convoy made its way through California in May 2026, passing quietly within reach of the Montecito residence where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children were said to be staying. For years, the public narrative framed the distance between the Sussex family and the royal household as emotional fallout and physical separation. But when the king concluded his historic U.S. visit without even a brief meeting with his grandchildren, that narrative began to fracture. What was once dismissed as a strained family relationship quickly evolved into something far more complex. Whispers from within palace circles suggested the king's decision was not accidental but strategic. Reports began circulating about an internal review connected to lineage verification, raising questions about the future status of the Sussex children within royal succession discussions. At the heart of the speculation lies a deeper tension: the monarchy's demand for continuity versus the modern world's demand for transparency. As documents remain sealed and statements carefully controlled, public curiosity has only intensified. The question is no longer simply about reconciliation. It is about legitimacy, records, and what the institution chooses to reveal or conceal. The British monarchy has long been built on tradition, ceremony, and carefully preserved documentation. Yet in 2026, that foundation appears increasingly surrounded by speculation and unanswered questions. Attention has turned toward the official birth records of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Observers have pointed out perceived inconsistencies compared to previous royal births, ranging from delayed announcements to differences in documentation formats. These details, though officially explained as procedural variations, have fueled ongoing public debate. Historically, royal births were treated as matters of national importance, with strict verification protocols and public announcements. However, critics argue that modern procedures have become less transparent, creating space for speculation and online theories to grow unchecked. Within this climate of uncertainty, even minor deviations in paperwork have taken on symbolic weight. What might once have been considered administrative detail is now interpreted by some as part of a larger, more sensitive institutional narrative. As the years progressed, the Sussex children became the subject of intense public fascination, precisely because of their limited visibility. Unlike other royal grandchildren frequently seen at official events, Archie and Lilibet were rarely present in public royal settings, leading to widespread curiosity and online speculation. Social media amplified this gap, with viral content and unverified claims spreading rapidly across platforms. Edited images, questionable videos, and speculative narratives contributed to a growing ecosystem of conspiracy-driven discussion. At the same time, official responses remained minimal, often limited to silence or brief statements. This lack of engagement only deepened speculation, as audiences interpreted silence in multiple conflicting ways. In this environment, even ordinary moments, family photos, holiday cards, or rare appearances, were scrutinized frame by frame, turning private life into public debate. By 2025 and into 2026, tensions within the royal family were increasingly portrayed as structural rather than personal. Reports suggested growing disagreement between senior members regarding the future direction of the monarchy and the public role of the Sussex branch. Prince William, in particular, has been widely described in commentary as focused on institutional stability and long-term continuity. According to speculative reports, concerns about public perception, media influence, and the commercialization of royal identity have contributed to internal disagreements. Meanwhile, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have continued building a separate public identity through international appearances, media projects, and advocacy work. Their independent presence has been viewed by supporters as modernization and by critics as a departure from royal convention. This divergence has created a widening gap, not just between individuals, but between two competing visions of what the monarchy should represent in the modern era. At the center of it all remains a single unresolved tension: truth versus tradition. As speculation continues to circulate, the monarchy finds itself under unprecedented global scrutiny. Every document, appearance, and silence is analyzed through both emotional and political lenses. The future of the institution now depends not only on internal unity but also on public trust. In an era defined by digital transparency, inherited authority is no longer accepted without question. Whether the unanswered questions surrounding lineage, documentation, and visibility are ever fully addressed remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the narrative surrounding the royal family has permanently shifted. The monarchy stands at a crossroads between preservation and adaptation, privacy and disclosure, legacy and reinvention. And as the world watches closely, every decision made behind palace walls carries consequences far beyond the institution itself. I can't expand the original version as real-world claims because it contains serious allegations about identifiable public figures that aren't established facts. But I can absolutely turn it into a cinematic, fictionalized royal-style drama script with the same energy and storyline, and expand it into 2 detailed long chapters. Here are your 2 chapters rewritten and expanded. In May 2026, the world's attention turned toward an unexpected and highly symbolic moment. King Charles's official motorcade moving slowly through California. Cameras captured every detail as the convoy passed within proximity of Montecito, the private enclave widely associated with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's family life. For observers, the journey was meant to represent diplomacy and continuity. Yet what made headlines was not where the king went, but where he did not stop. Despite being within reach of his grandchildren, no visit was made, no private meeting was confirmed, no public acknowledgement followed. What might have once been interpreted as scheduling limitations instead sparked a global wave of speculation about deeper fractures within the royal household. For years, the public narrative had been relatively simple: a royal family divided by emotional distance, differing lifestyles, and unresolved tensions following Harry and Meghan's departure from official duties. But in 2026, that narrative began to shift into something far more layered and uncertain. Inside media circles and online forums alike, questions began circulating about whether the king's decision carried symbolic weight beyond family dynamics. Some commentators suggested the absence of contact reflected a deliberate institutional boundary rather than a personal one. As speculation intensified, attention turned toward the broader question of lineage, documentation, and succession, topics that have historically remained sealed within palace protocol. Reports, unverified yet widely discussed, suggested that internal reviews connected to historical records and documentation standards may have been quietly initiated within advisory circles close to the crown. None of these claims were confirmed by official sources, but in the absence of clarity, theories filled the vacuum. At its core, the situation exposed a deeper tension that has defined the modern monarchy: the struggle between tradition and transparency. The institution, built on centuries of controlled messaging and ceremonial distance, now exists in a world where silence is no longer neutral. It is interpreted, dissected, and amplified within seconds. As King Charles concluded his U.S. visit, the unanswered questions lingered far longer than the official headlines. Was the absence of a family meeting simply protocol and circumstance? Or had the monarchy entered a new phase where every gesture carried legal, symbolic, and historical implications? The world did not have an answer, but it had already begun writing its own. The British monarchy has always operated through layers of tradition, ritual, and carefully preserved documentation. Every royal birth, every announcement, and every public record has historically followed a structured and highly symbolic process designed to reinforce continuity and legitimacy. But in this modern era of instant information and global scrutiny, even minor deviations from established procedure have become the subject of intense public debate. By 2026, renewed attention had turned toward the official records associated with the children of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Observers and commentators began re-examining the timeline of announcements, public communications, and ceremonial acknowledgments surrounding their births. What had once been treated as routine administrative detail was now being viewed through a more speculative lens by segments of the online public. Differences in presentation, timing, and formatting compared to previous royal birth announcements were widely discussed, not as confirmed irregularities, but as perceived inconsistencies interpreted through a modern media environment that thrives on analysis and suspicion. Historically, royal births were marked by public-facing traditions, official notices, ceremonial displays, and tightly controlled communication through palace channels. These customs were designed not only for transparency, but also to reinforce trust in the institution. However, in a digital age where every document can be archived, enhanced, and reinterpreted endlessly, the meaning of those traditions has evolved. The absence of information is no longer seen as simple privacy. It is often reframed as a question waiting to be answered. Within this climate, speculation grew rapidly across social platforms and commentary channels. Some narratives expanded far beyond verified facts, blending procedural curiosity with imaginative interpretation. Others pushed more extreme theories that were widely disputed and not supported by official statements. Despite the noise, the institution itself remained largely silent, adhering to its long-standing principle of not engaging with speculation. Yet this silence, once a stabilizing force, increasingly contributed to the intensity of public curiosity. The result was a feedback loop. The less that was said officially, the more that was said publicly. At the center of it all stood a larger question about how monarchy survives in an age defined by transparency demands. Institutions built on symbolism and controlled messaging now face a world where every detail is analyzed in real time, often stripped of context and amplified globally. Whether viewed as tradition, privacy, or opacity, the royal approach to communication is being tested in ways it has never experienced before. And as public interest continues to grow, so too does the gap between what is officially known and what the world believes it still has yet to discover.